Two people. The same salary, the same city, the same year they started working. Same grades in school, same opportunities, same alarm clock at 7 in the morning. 10 years later, their two lives could not possibly look more different. One of them is drowning in debt, taking a brand new loan just to cover the old one. He earns more money than ever before, and somehow he has never felt poorer. The other one owns 3 apartments and quietly stopped going to work last year. Not because he got lucky. Because he genuinely does not need the job anymore. Here is the uncomfortable part, the part almost nobody wants to hear. It was never really about the salary. I'll say it again, slowly, because most people refuse to believe it the first time. It has almost nothing to do with how much money you earn. It is about which level of the money pyramid you quietly got stuck on. There are 7 levels, and right now, almost everyone is trapped on one of them. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which level is yours. And more importantly, the single next step that moves you upward. Every number I give you today is real, and I'll show you where it comes from. No magic, no get rich quick. Just math you can check yourself. Most people spend their entire life on level 5 and never notice they stopped climbing. So watch to the end. This is a map, and somewhere on it is a pin with your name. Level 1. Survival. On this level, money disappears faster than it ever manages to arrive. The paycheck lands on Friday, and by the next week it has already evaporated. You are not buying luxury here. You are simply staying alive until the next payday. There is no cushion. None at all. The balance lives permanently close to zero. And this is not some rare problem. Surveys repeatedly find around 6 in 10 people live paycheck to paycheck. Even many with good salaries. This level is about habits, not the size of the check. So any small shock instantly becomes a full catastrophe. The car dies, a tooth starts aching, the laptop breaks, and the whole month collapses. And here is the most dangerous part, the trap that keeps people here for decades. It is the quiet belief that earning more will automatically fix everything. It will not. On this level, spending grows at the exact same speed as income. Researchers even have a name for this. They call it lifestyle creep. Give a level 1 person a raise, and within months the money is simply gone again. The lifestyle just expands to swallow whatever new money happens to show up. The escape is not a bigger salary. It is one brutal, boring little rule. Pay yourself first. The moment money touches your account, 10% goes aside, before anything else. This is the oldest rule in finance, written in a book all the way back in 1926. The richest man in Babylon. The lesson was simple, a part of all you earn is yours to keep. Before rent, before food, before fun. First yourself, then the rest of the world. 10% feels like almost nothing, and that is exactly why it actually works. It is small enough to survive, but it finally builds the thing you've never had. A reserve. The very first brick of every fortune ever built. But saving has a twin that most people ignore. Killing high-interest debt. On this level, debt is not a tool. It is a leak that grows every single month. The average U.S. credit card now charges over 20% interest a year. That is the Federal Reserve's own published number, the highest in decades. It is compound interest, the engine of wealth, running in reverse against you. Carry $5,000 at 20%, paying only the minimum each month. It can take well over 15 years to clear, and cost thousands in pure interest. So paying off 20% debt is a guaranteed 20% return, with zero risk. There is no safer, faster investment anywhere on earth than erasing that first. Plug the leak, then fill the bucket. In that exact order. Level 2. Stability. Now something fundamental has changed. For the first time, you have a cushion. 3 to 6 months of your expenses, sitting in a separate account, untouched. That is not a random number. It is the emergency fund banks and regulators recommend. Why 3 to 6? Because that is roughly how long it takes to find a new job. It sounds boring. It is also the most underrated level in the entire pyramid. Because that cushion is not really money. It is a completely different feeling. It is the ability to sleep at night even when your boss is in a terrible mood. It is the quiet power to say no to work that is slowly destroying you. A person with savings negotiates differently. They even walk differently. Fear is expensive, and a safety net is simply how you stop paying for it. But even safe money has a quiet enemy, and its name is inflation. Prices in a normal year creep up about 2 to 3%, while your cash sits still. At 3%, money hidden under a mattress loses about half its power in 24 years. So your cushion belongs in a high-yield savings account, quietly earning interest. Safe and reachable, but not rotting. Stability means protected, not frozen. But let's be honest with each other. Stability is not yet wealth. It is solid ground. You have stopped sinking, but you are not yet rising. To start rising, you need the thing that almost nobody actually has. Control. Level 3. Control. On this level, for the very first time, you can see all of your money. Not a vague feeling in your stomach, but an exact map of where every dollar goes. And one number matters far more than your salary. It is called your net worth. Everything you own, minus everything you owe. That single line is your real scoreboard. Someone earning less with savings can be wealthier than a big earner buried in loans. Your salary is only the input. Your net worth is the actual result. Watch the result. Measure it once a month, because what gets measured quietly starts to improve. Most people have no idea. Money just leaks out through 100 tiny invisible holes. Author David Bach gave it a famous name. He called it the latte factor. A $5 coffee every single day is about $1,800 a year. That same money invested at 7% becomes over $180,000 in 30 years. I'm not telling you to never drink coffee. I'm telling you small numbers are not small. So you build a simple system. You give every single dollar a job to do. It's called the 50-30-20 rule, made famous by Senator Elizabeth Warren. 50% on the essentials. Rent, food, transport, the things you truly need. 30% on the life you actually want to live today, with no guilt. And 20% to yourself, flowing straight into savings and assets. Now your debts stop being a terrifying fog and become a neat line of dominoes. You attack the smallest one first, knock it down, and roll its payment into the next. Finance experts call this the debt snowball, and it works because of momentum. One by one they topple, and that feeling of winning becomes almost addictive. But hear this clearly. Control without the next step is just organized poverty. You can be perfectly budgeted, perfectly disciplined, and still stay poor forever. To break out, your money has to stop sleeping and finally start working. Level 4. Your first assets. This is the single most important line in the entire pyramid. On one side stand the people who trade their precious hours for money. On the other, people whose money quietly earns more money while they sleep. Robert Kiyosaki drew this line in one sentence in Rich Dad Poor Dad. An asset puts money into your pocket. A liability takes money out of it. A new car on credit is a liability. It quietly eats your money every month. A share in a fund that grows for years is an asset. It feeds you instead. Most people spend their whole life buying liabilities that simply look like success. The expensive car, the newest phone, the watch that impresses total strangers. The wealthy quietly do the exact opposite. First, they buy assets. And then, much later, they let those assets pay for all the toys. Now here is the engine underneath all real wealth. Compound interest. And these are real, historical numbers, not a salesman's fantasy. Since 1926, the U.S. stock market has returned about 10% a year on average. After you subtract inflation, that is roughly 7% of real growth. There is even a shortcut for it, called the rule of 72. Divide 72 by your return, and that's how many years your money takes to double. At 7%, your money roughly doubles every 10 years, again and again. So watch this. $300 a month. Boring, right? Almost insulting. Invest that at 7% for 30 years, and it becomes about $360,000. And at the full 10% average, it crosses $650,000. You did not earn that. Time and compounding earned it for you. The money you quietly ignored is the money that was busy building your future. But which assets do you actually buy? Here the real data is brutal and freeing. Standard & Poor's measures this every year in a report called SPIVA. Over 15 years, the large majority of professional fund managers fail to beat the market. If experts paid millions cannot reliably beat it, you and I should not gamble either. So instead of picking stocks, you buy the entire market through a low-cost index fund. This was not always possible. Jack Bogle launched the first index fund back in 1976. People laughed at it then. Today index funds hold trillions of dollars. He was right. Then you add money every month, in calm times and in terrifying times alike. That habit is called dollar cost averaging. You stop trying to time the market. When prices crash, your fixed amount simply buys more shares while they are on sale. Boring, automatic, relentless. Consistency beats brilliance over 30 years. You don't need to be a genius once. You need to be steady for decades. Level 5. Cash flow. Now something genuinely beautiful happens. Your assets begin to pay you back. Dividends quietly land in your account. Rent arrives every single month. A digital product you built once keeps selling itself while you sleep. For the first time, money shows up without you trading an hour to get it. This is the level people fantasize about. And this is exactly where most of them freeze. Not because of money. They have the money. They freeze because of fear. The fear of scaling. The fear of one apartment turning into 3. The fear of putting real money to work instead of hiding it under the bed. They reach the very door of freedom, and then they sit down in front of it. Comfortable enough to stop trying, but far too scared to keep growing. And 10 years later, they are still sitting in exactly the same spot. Level 6. Capital, and the trap hidden inside it. Now you finally have real money. Serious, life-changing money. And right here, that silent killer comes back. Lifestyle inflation. The more you earn, the more you spend, and somehow you never feel any richer. The bigger house arrives with a bigger mortgage. The nicer car, a nicer loan. Your income explodes, and yet your freedom stays exactly where it always was. The cure is almost offensively simple. Freeze your standard of living. Choose a comfortable lifestyle, lock it in, and refuse to let it grow with your income. Then take everything above that line and send it straight to work. While your income rises and your spending stays flat, the gap becomes your fortune. That widening gap, invested patiently, is what finally buys the last level. Level 7. Freedom. On this level, your money works completely and entirely without you. There is a simple math test for this level, and it is called the 4% rule. Studies on retirement found you can safely withdraw about 4% of your investments each year. So if your assets are 25 times your yearly spending, the work becomes optional. You could decide tomorrow to never work again, and absolutely nothing would break. The bills get paid. Life keeps running. The machine no longer needs you inside it. And here is the part almost everyone misunderstands about this final level. It was never really about luxury, or private jets, or impressing anyone. It is about one single thing. Your time finally belongs to you again. You wake up, and the day is yours to spend, not yours to sell. You watch your kids actually grow up. You travel slowly. You build what you care about. That is the real prize at the very top of the pyramid. Not money. Freedom. So let's put the whole map back together. 7 levels. Survival, where money vanishes. Stability, where you finally build a cushion. Control, where you command every dollar. Assets, where money starts to work. Cash flow, where your money pays you. Capital, where you escape the trap. And freedom, where your time finally comes home to you. You just walked the entire path. And somewhere on it, that is you, right now. Be honest with yourself. Don't pick the level you want. Pick the level you are on. Because the real climb only begins the moment you stop lying about where you stand. Every number today was real. The market history, the rules, the math. Go check them. Write your number, from 1 to 7, in the comments. It's an honest talk with yourself. Subscribe, because next we climb the exact steps out of your level. Let's keep going.